Is your small business growing? That's the question we address right here on the Grow Your Biz Show. It's where we interview strategic entrepreneurs who inform and inspire you on your solopreneur or small company journey. Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Grow Your Biz Show. Hello and welcome to episode number 96 of the Grow Your Biz Show. I'm Paul Madsen, host of the program, and also the founder of GrowMedia.com. Tom, GrowMedia.com helps businesses to grow by putting their unique stories on social media video. That's what we do, and we do it on social media video and right here on television. Well, speaking of television, Tom, we're going to hear Tom's unique story right after we thank our sponsor. ActionCoachOmaha.com is the global leader in business coaching for small businesses and businesses of all sizes. If you need to clarify your business and if you need to have some accountability in your business, contact Jim Barger at ActionCoachOmaha.com. Welcome back. I'm here today with Tom Becka in the studio of KPAO TV, and I'm thrilled to have you, Tom. Good to see you.
Nice to meet you, Paul.
Welcome to the program.
Did anybody ever say that? Did you ever get confused for me? I mean, I'm just wondering, I'm looking at this, it's like, holy crap, I need glasses.
Yeah, well, you want to borrow the glasses? I guess height, weight. I was thinking about that today. I think he has a goatee too.
Yeah, the gray hair, yeah.
Well, no, I don't have gray hair yet, so.
Okay, sure. Yeah, fine, yeah.
Yeah, okay, great. As you can see, it's going to be a great show today. We're going to have a lot of fun. And Tom, of course, everyone knows, the one, the only Tom. He's a media personality, of course, on Fox 42 with the evening commentary, daily commentary, right?
Yep. Sunday through Friday, yep.
Sunday through Friday, okay. Real estate, speaking appearances, author.
Yes, basically, yeah. Jack of all trades,
Yeah. And doing a whole bunch of things for a long time, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, you asked before, we were talking a little bit beforehand about, what we're going to talk about. You asked what business I'm in, and I'm in the Tom Becka business.
Well, that's my question.
Yeah.
What business are you specifically in? I talk about all those things.
Yeah.
What business does that funnel down to?
I'm in the Tom Becka business because I just found that I've, built an image for myself and build that brand. I don't have to depend so much on other people. I like the idea of being me. Now, love me or hate me, and I know people do. But it's still I build an image, I build a reputation that has served me well over the years because I think no matter what you do for a living, I think you got to be in the business.
Self-promotion? Well, that's exactly why I wanted to have you on the program, because we have entrepreneurs and wannabe entrepreneurs who are coming and watching this show. They want to start a business, they want to grow their business, they're not sure what business to be in or whatever, but what's one of the most important things about being in business? If no one knows about you, you're sunk, right?
Well, you're right. Well, the most important thing is to start. I mean, okay, so I've done stand-up comedy, I've done talk radio, doing the TV now, I've written a book, There's No Business Without the Show, and we'll get into that in a second.
You bet.
I've done all these things, and invariably somebody will come up to me and say, oh, I always wanted to do a talk radio program.
Oh, really?
Or I always wanted to be a stand-up comic, or I always wanted to write a book. And my answer is, well, why didn't you?
Yeah.
Why aren't you?
Why aren't you?
Why aren't you? I mean, because that's it. It's like, look, I always said I always wanted to go to a bar and restaurant, and why aren't I? Because I don't want to be working at 2 a.m. with a bunch of drunks. In theory, it sounds good,
Yeah.
In theory, it sounds good, but the reality is it's a lot of work.
It is.
And the same thing with no matter what it is. I mean, we all have dreams,
Right?
All right, but you got to take that first step, and you got to be willing to fail and learn from the mistake and bounce back. And that's what, no matter what, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, if you're going to go out and start out on your own, no matter what that might be, have a vision of what that is, have an idea of what it is, and then don't look at all the reasons why it might not work. Look at the reasons why it would.
Right. Well, what market you're going to serve and all that kind of stuff. Hey, backing up just a little bit on what you said. You see, someone approaches you and say, hey, you make it look so easy on TV and on radio. I listened to you on radio for years, and it's not as easy as it looks. But you say, why didn't you do that? And again, we go back to our premise of promotion for the entrepreneur, self-promotion. Well, today it's pretty easy. I mean, Everybody has one of these.
Well, yeah, well, you know, that's interesting because on one hand, you're right. On one hand, it's easy for anybody to get out there and say, okay, here I am. On the other hand, it's very difficult because how do you break through the clutter?
Right.
How,
Well,
how do you end up?
absolutely.
How do you end up making a name for yourself? How do you end up being out there so that you are one of those people? You know,
Well, I've heard that there are 700,000 podcasts out there.
I think that's probably a small number. Yeah. You know, I mean, hey, I've also got a podcast.
Well,
yeah.
how do you? I mean, if I'm in the Tom Becca business, how do I stand out? You're talking about branding of the Tom Becca thing. Again, for an entrepreneur, how do they brand themselves? How have you branded yourself over the years?
Well, because I'm old.
Surviving.
Yeah, I joke. I say that I'm an old guy living in the new media.
There you go.
But I started off at a time here in Omaha when you could go and you know, just being on the radio and being on KFAB, which at the time was a powerhouse station.
Sure, it is
and
so,
being on
yeah.
that, it was an opportunity for me to build my name, and I got out in the community, MC a lot of charity events, volunteer, that sort of a thing. So I got out there to be, you know, that name and that person. So I had a nice head start when there wasn't 700,000 podcasts.
Well, yeah,
okay,
yeah.
so I've got that, and I built a niche for being like, you know, the local Omaha guy.
So you built your brand.
Yeah, I built my brand here, being like the Omaha guy.
That media guy, sort of.
Yeah,
I mean,
you know.
because it wasn't just radio. It was. I mean. Okay, let's back up. We're going to help the people watching
Sure.
who want to start their business. I want to be someone who can go out there and be a professional speaker.
Okay.
How do I do that? Where do I start?
All right,
How do
well,
I build my brand? I'm not Tom Becca.
Well, okay. First of all, get my book.
It's true.
But here's the thing: is that okay? Let's say, for instance, in my case, okay, when I first started in radio. That was back in the era when everybody was the deep voice announcers. You know, the guys that
yeah.
sounded like Otis 12, right? I mean, just a great voice and sounded, you know, and here I am with this voice. You know, and they were also, you know, album rock, and it was like, you know, and now another 10 Led Zeppelin songs in a row.
Yes.
And here I was with this guy, with this voice, which was, you know, at the time a negative.
Yeah.
I turned the negative into a positive so that now I've got people that, you know, I'll be at a restaurant and I'll be talking to a person across the way, and somebody will walk up to me and say, I recognize that voice.
heard
You're
that
Tom
voice.
Becca.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so you take the negative and turn it into a positive.
Well, it's kind of again a brand. It's nothing you had your voice from birth, so it's nothing you created, but it's a style. It's a style, right?
And when I say negative, maybe not even the negative. Maybe what you want to do is take what you've got and make it into something.
like that.
Okay?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I used to be on the air. I used to be on the radio, and I talked about me being a short, dumpy guy, right? because people on the radio would just hear you and they'd think, oh, you know, he's 6'2", muscular, all that stuff. And I would meet people and I'd be like, oh, you're Tom Becca?
Yeah.
This way I would go and I would talk, you know, about what I look like, and then they meet me and they say, oh, you're not as bad as I thought, you know, which is a much better thing, you know?
I met a guy who is in media, and he has got the best voice, and we still hear him today out there, and just a fantastic voice.
Yeah.
And I met him in person, and he's our stature, height-wise, and I thought you were 7'3".
Of course. Right, of course, now it's a little bit different now with you know, internet and social media and everything.
Right, yeah,
but back then, all they had was the radio, and it was all the theater of the mind.
Never let theater of the mind.
So I took what I had, you know, both good and bad. I took what I had and I made that into, you know, myself, and I made it bigger than myself. You know, like I said, talking about being the short, dumpy guy, I made it sound worse than it is, because that way, you know, it would be like, oh, okay, there's something. You know.
Well, people like self-deprecation.
Yeah.
I mean, they can relate to it. It's, you know, humble. If you came in there and said, "I'm Tom Becca, I'm the king of all media," you know.
Okay. So, you know, being in broadcasting a long time, I met a lot of broadcasters, and I met those guys. You know, don't you know who I am?
Yeah.
There's two answers to that. No, or yes, and I could give a damn. Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Neither of those answers are good. Okay. So right away it was like, you know, I didn't want to be that. Also, that thing.
You're the everyman of broadcasting.
And so what you do is you go and you take what you've got, and okay, what is the hook? What makes you special? Okay, I mean, okay, let's take, let's say a Dolly Parton. Okay,
Yeah.
Dolly Parton, a tremendous singer,
Right.
Just a great voice, written some wonderful songs. Okay, there are a lot of women with tremendous voices who've written wonderful songs.
Right.
Dolly Parton, rather well endowed.
Yes.
All right, she took that and she used that. Dan Whitney, do you know who Dan Whitney is?
I've heard the name.
Yeah, Dan Whitney, otherwise known as Larry the Cable Guy.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Dan
Yeah,
Whitney was doing the same type of jokes, and that was it, right? You go on YouTube and find some of his Dan Whitney stuff.
Yeah.
And he was just another comic.
Yeah.
All right.
Many out there.
He turned into Larry the Cable Guy. All right, which is sort of a fluke, by the way. It was a routine that he just started doing, and the crowd loved it.
Yeah.
And he found the more he did Larry the Cable Guy, the more the crowd loved it. So he became Larry the Cable Guy.
And I bet kids nowadays don't even know what a cable guy is.
Yeah, really?
I mean, the picture is a cable guy comes to your house. You have to be there between 8 and noon or whatever, and I think it's kind of based on some of that. And so they don't even know, but they still love him, and they still love his routine, right?
Right, yeah.
Well, he did what? He branded himself.
Yeah, because he branded himself. He had an image. So what is your image? If you're going to be out there, no matter, as you mentioned, 700,000 podcasts, no matter what you are doing, all right, no matter what your thing is, whether you're, insurance salesman, restaurant owner, truck driver, whatever, right? Teacher. I mean, you brand yourself to be something, special.
Right.
All right, and
Well, you
promote
said
yourself.
it yourself. Take what you got.
Yeah, and that, so that you stand out, it's like, okay, yeah, I've got my choice of X number of, plumbers. Okay, why should I pick you?
Right.
Okay,
Right.
and it's more than just buying ads on TV or radio.
Right.
It's more than that. It's also, okay, what is your image in the community? Are you getting out and, for instance, getting out and doing charity work?
Sure.
Look,
yeah, that's fantastic.
again, you take a look at the Hollywood celebrities, right? So many of them go to these big charity events.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Now they go and they help raise money for very good causes. At the same time, they're networking.
Right.
Right. I mean, so if you've got.
Well, yeah, it's two-way street because it does no good for an entrepreneur starting to. I have a friend who says you got to get outside, get from behind the glass.
Yeah.
It's so easy to do this and think you're networking and working, but it's a lot more than that, isn't it?
Oh, much more than that. It's much more than that. It's also a thing where you put yourself out there, and anytime you put yourself out there, people are going to want to shut you down. I mean, so it's not easy.
Well, especially if you do political commentary.
Oh, well, yeah, but no matter what it is, I mean, if you put yourself out there, it's kind of, it's scary. It's like, okay, if you've, no matter what, you're an entrepreneur, you want to start something, no matter what about it, you got a website you want to develop, right?
Sure.
Okay, all right, so if you want to develop a website, you're putting it out there, and there are a gazillion websites out there.
Right.
What makes people want to go to you?
Sure, right.
How do you get that out? And it's more than just running Google ads.
Well,
I mean, there's a lot more to it, to build that connection with the people so that they feel that they like you, and they know you, and they trust you.
Well, exactly. No, those are the three big ones: the know, like, and trust. As far as social media, because there's a ton of social media out there. Well, I like what you're saying about the self-branding, where the short, dumpy guy, the high, squeaky voice or whatever, and but it's more than that. Those are the two trademarks you built on. You built once, you got some traction within those areas. Then you went ahead and got out in public and got out from behind the glass, got out from behind the microphone of the radio, and so people could meet you and see you in person, things like that.
And it doesn't happen overnight.
No.
And you have to be willing to change with the times. I mean, again, when I started off, they played music on AM radio.
Yeah.
You don't do that. AM radio, the kids are, what the hell's AM radio? Forget about cable guys.
Top
What's
40.
AM radio?
Yeah, top 40.
So you have to be able to adapt to the changes, which is not always easy. You know, I mean, if you're an entrepreneur and things are changing in your industry, and your attitude is, well, that's not the way we used to do it.
Right.
Then you're going to be out of work.
Well, tell us about your journey. I mean, you reinvented yourself a few times along the way. How'd you get started in the whole media world and all that?
Okay. I got started basically at a campus radio station at UNO.
Okay.
And there were people that were on the air that had worse voices than me.
Okay.
And I heard that and I said, well, they can do what I can do.
I can do it, right?
Yeah, and so I did that. I did radio for, I was on the air doing both on air and sales, really until about the age of 30.
Did you start with sales?
No, I started on the air.
Started on the air, okay.
Started on the air, but back then there was no format to grow old gracefully in radio.
Oh, okay.
It was all rock, top 40 country.
Sure.
And I didn't want to be, back then I didn't want to see myself as some, 45-year-old guy trying to relate to Nelly, or whatever, whoever the hot artist is,
Right.
So, so I said, okay, so I got into sales, so that's actually where the money is.
Right.
I got into sales, But around the age of 30, the comedy boom hit.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
And comedy clubs were growing all over the place. And I'd always wanted to do that.
Yeah, well.
I always wanted to do that. I just thought it was something,
had-
one of
you
those
had the
things.
itch, yeah.
Yeah, so I went to an open mic night and I saw some guys that were just horrendously bad. And I said, well, I'm not that bad.
Yeah.
So I got up there and I did open mic night one time just to say I had done it. And the club owner said to me, he said, hey, you're not half bad, keep coming back.
Ah,
So I did. Then every Tuesday night, I was there working on my act, honing it,
right.
and it got to the point where I was able to open for Jerry Seinfeld, Sam Kinison.
not right away.
No, not right away. No, oh God,
How long did that take?
oh
before
God,
you got
I
into
bombed. Oh God, did I bomb?
So, entrepreneurs, remember, rejection is part of the learning process.
big time.
Yeah, especially in show business.
Big time, and that's how you learn what works and what doesn't work.
Well, exactly.
I mean, okay, I'm gonna do a joke, and I'll say, okay, so I'm gonna try a joke. And I would do the joke and it would bomb. Well, here, that doesn't work.
Scratch that one off.
I would also do a joke and it might get a lukewarm reception. I say, okay, there's something here, but I got to take it to the next level.
Okay.
Okay? And by the other thing, I would try a joke at least 3 times before I gave up on it.
Okay.
Because you never know.
Yeah, it could be the crowd.
You never know. It could be the crowd. It could be the way that I delivered it.
Sure.
Because comedy is a very fragile thing. And so a little pause here of a hand gesture, a look, an inflection can change a joke.
Okay.
So I would do it at least 3 times to make sure the joke was just right.
Yeah.
And so that's also with an entrepreneur. When you're in business, okay, you try something and it didn't work. Okay, well, it didn't work because it just stinks. Didn't work because it was a bad day. Didn't work because you just had the right customer. You're not reaching the right target. That's another thing, especially in this day and age with the social media and everything. Find your people.
Right.
All right. Again, going back into the show business analogy.
Uh-huh.
All right. Not everybody watched Seinfeld. Not everybody liked Seinfeld.
Right.
Jerry Seinfeld did okay for himself.
Yeah, he's
okay.
yeah.
He did okay for
I
himself.
think just recently read a net worth of $800 million.
Something. Yeah,
but he's still growing.
Yeah, he's not
done yet.
He'll get by. He'll get by.
But
Anyway.
But
you find your people.
Yeah.
Okay, you find your people. Look,
Find your
I know.
people.
I know that not everybody likes me. I get the email that tells me that. But I also know I've got people that come up to me and say, "Hey, Tom, hang in there. Keep doing it. I love what you do." And so I have my people that I really, that like what I do, or at least respect what I do, or at least can tolerate what I do.
Yeah.
And then I got the other people, the haters and the naysayers.
Sure.
It's human nature to focus on the negative.
Right.
For instance, if you have a paper cut, you're not focusing on the 99.999% of your body that's doing well.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, damn, look at this paper cut, right? I mean, if somebody says to you, hey, that's a nice sport coat, that's a very nice, well, thank you very much, and you move on, right?
Right.
But if somebody says to you, oh boy, that sport coat, really makes you look fat. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it does. But I'm just saying, you focus on that, and you won't wear the sport coat again.
Right.
Right, because oh,
Right,
geez.
right.
And again, so it's human nature to focus on the negative.
Sure.
Got to get yourself out of that.
Right.
Okay, and look at more of the positive aspects of it.
Well, so many guests, Tom, have sat in that chair and told me the same thing you're saying. It's about iteration. It's about trying things. And one said, you have to go down so many wrong roads to figure out what the right road is. And that applies to comedy. That applies to media, the media you do, and even real estate. You're doing real estate, is that right?
Yeah, I started doing some real estate. And one of the reasons is that, I know I looked so young on TV, but I'm, getting close to retirement age. And it's like, okay, so what do I want to do? The idea of doing nothing doesn't appeal to me.
Right.
All right? And I'll write out the thing with Fox 42 as long as they'll have me.
Right.
But, but I also understand the realities of the business. And so, if there comes a point when they say, Tom, it's been a nice race, I don't want to just lay around the house and watch, TV all day.
Right.
So I got my real estate license with Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate. And I got my real estate license with them, and I've been doing some real estate on the side.
Sure.
And that's turned out, and I love that too because it challenges me.
Right.
It's something new, it's something different. It's not what I've been doing all these years.
Right, and it's flexible for you
Yeah.
with your schedule because you've got a
Precisely.
non-traditional schedule.
Precisely. And it also builds on, like I said at the beginning, I'm in the Tom Becca business.
Right.
So it works for me in the fact that I've been able to go and take, reputation I built in this town and take that and to build that into something so that I can, do something else on the side.
Sure.
And it all works together.
Yeah.
There's a nice synergy between doing the real estate and doing the commentary.
Sure. Well,
and granted, look, I've had people that say, "Oh, I don't want to deal with him because I don't like him."
Yeah.
All right, fine. It's fine. I got plenty of people that do.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. So you focus on the people that do. Focus on the positive.
Absolutely. I had a guest here not long ago, sat in that chair and said, I said, you must have skeptics in your business, in what you do. And she said, well, of course I do. And she says, I'm not here for them. Yeah. I'm here for the ones who want to be here for. And before I forget this other thought, you were talking about, why I think you've endured in the media business and in this whole world for so long. I think it comes down to you're you. You're Tom Becca authentic. Tom Becca, I mean, people say, oh, well, this, that, or whatever with your politics or your commentary or your media, whatever. But it comes down to you've lasting so long, don't you think, Tom, because you have been authentic. You never try to be someone you're not.
Well, okay, I'll tell you a little story about that.
Or have you?
Well, no, I'll tell you a little story about it. Okay, so when I first started doing talk radio, one of the first endorsement ads that I did was for a device called the Health Rider. You may remember the Health Rider. It was one of those, late night TV infomercial things. You work out, right? The sort of thing you buy and then hang your clothes on, a week later. Well, I'm on the air and I'm doing all these ads for, get the Health Rider, call this number, get the Health Rider. I'm doing all these ads, and I've been doing them for like 2 or 3 months. People start, seeing me and saying, you ain't using the Health Rider, are you? Yeah. And I realized it's like, I can't do that. So if I endorsed a product, it was a product that if I didn't use it myself, it was a product that I at least felt real confident in and say, you'll get good results from this. Because I understood that if I was just going to do something for the check, it was going to end up biting me in the ass in the long run. And so the way that I was able to build up the endorsements and build up the business, that I was able to do that was a way to, basically keep my integrity. And that's one thing that, I've tried to do at least.
No, that's important.
Especially keep my integrity.
Well, there's so many, it's hard with sponsors and all that, and the bigger it gets, the more stretched out it gets and all that. Well, tell us why did you write the book and what's the gist of it? Okay,
the book is called There's No Business Without the Show. And I wrote it because, first of all, I always want to write a book, right? I always want to write a book.
You're a content guy. You like to get that content out there, whether it's comedy, media, commentary, or now a book.
But I would start something and it would fall by the wayside. And then when I came up with the title, I said, oh, now I know I have the focus now. Now I know what I want to do. Because I realized that, my time in sales was the same thing as my time in doing stand-up comedy or my time at talk radio. It was the same thing. It was, how do I grow and how do I build that relationship with the client? Just like, how do I build that relationship with the audience? How do I grow and how do I deal with rejection? All right? I mean,
in comedy, you get a lot of they don't throw tomatoes, do they? But
but you get a lot of rejection in sales, don't you?
Well, tons.
Okay, yeah.
Well, you sell what, 1 or 2% of what you do.
Yeah. So how do you deal with that? Also, in sales, you have to basically give the same sales pitch over and over and over and over again, right?
Right.
How do you do it to make it sound like it's fresh the first time you do it?
For them.
Yeah. But I may have talked about my widgets, 98,000 times.
Right.
But if I'm talking to you about my widgets for the first time, I got to sell that sales pitch the same way I did 98,000 times earlier.
It's why I love the title of your book. There's no business without the show. You have to bring that spark, that enthusiasm. I go to networking groups and meetings, a lot of business meetings around town, and people, they give you the elevator pitch, and my eyes glaze over.
Yeah.
And maybe their eyes glaze over on mine, I don't know. But the point is they don't have that spark. They don't know exactly what they're selling. They don't know who they're selling to. And how can people get better on that?
Focus.
Practice.
Yeah, how do they do that? No, trial and error. And you never know. If I use a talk radio analogy here, there would be topics. There would be topics sometimes, and I'd think, oh, this topic, the phones are going to be all lit up. Oh, this will be a great topic. Going to be great. And it would, right?
No colors.
And then at the same time, I would throw something out. I would just throw out a little side comment. and everybody wants to talk about that.
Okay.
Okay, so that's it. So you go and you pay attention to what's happening around you, so that you know, okay, this is where I see this is going.
Sure.
All right, and so you try to focus on that. The Post-it notes, right?
Right.
3M was working on super glue for that.
Yeah, that's funny.
Okay, it's like, oh, geez, that doesn't work for that, but boy, it would work for this.
Yeah.
Berkshire Hathaway, right?
Okay.
When Warren Buffett started Berkshire Hathaway, it was not what it is now.
No.
Okay, and
I read that he was in his 50s before he became a billionaire.
well, that may be. Yeah.
It's
But the thing was, they took the company and developed it into something entirely different, because he had to go and see where it's at, and what were the hot industries and where was it going. And,
Sure.
And as he'll tell you, not everyone was a hit.
No,
right?
I'm sure.
Not everyone was a hit, but you keep at it. And you hire. And if you're hiring, hire good people that you can trust, people that you can depend on, people that you'll give them the freedom to go and try some things and fail.
Absolutely, and that they see your vision, I hope, as well.
Yeah.
So that's all important. Well, Tom, as we start to wrap up here, you've lived a couple, 3 lifetimes in just a short 30, 40, 50 years.
You're too kind. Yeah.
In media, yeah.
Yeah, in media.
It's dog years, isn't it? In media.
Yeah.
I guess where I'm going is, as I'm a startup entrepreneur or a wannabe entrepreneur, and or someone who has a handful of employees right now, and I want to promote my business, kind of a summary: what should I do to get my name out there, get my word out there, be unique in the marketplace?
Everything. I know that sounds like a smart-ass answer, but it's not. I mean,
you're right, though.
It used to be, there would be a 100% solution. I'd say, buy an ad in the paper, right?
Right.
But that was, 60, 70 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Buy an ad in the paper, there, it'll get your name out that way, right?
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't work anymore. So there's no longer a 100% solution.
Right.
There's 101% solutions.
Well, your answer is profound. Everything is correct.
Yeah.
And then through the process of iterating, like we talked about, I think we will find out what does work and what doesn't.
Enjoy the ride.
Yeah, exactly. In summary, Tom, a couple quotes I just got. Find your people. I mean, that's find your audience, find your people. You probably got some bruises still from the comedy world.
Of course.
The theater of the mind. Approach things to understand that it's a theater out there, and and then lastly, I said, build on what you have. Build, and I just think that's all profound as well. Tom, it's been a pleasure.
My pleasure.
And please join us next week for the Grow Your Biz show, and also check me out at growmedia.com. Have a couple courses coming up. I'd love to see you as part of that as well. Tom, thanks again.
And watch the Fox 42 News at 9.
Watch the Fox 42 News at 9. You bet.